Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Comics 101. Um, Not sure why I cannot be seen. Okay. And I'm waiting for
Oh, I know why we
he is.
cannot be seen. Hold on. I know
Okay.
I know why we cannot be seen. There we go. That's why we cannot be seen.
I like I like that background. That was very nice.
Well, thank you.
Nice nod to the legend. This is Richard, my co-host on the Big Dog, and once again, this is Comics 101. Today we're a special episode as we will be talking. We recently lost one of the biggest all-time comics artists ever, John Romita Sr. He died, I believe it was June 12th, at the age of 92, I believe, 93. And we'll also be
93.
talking. Yeah, we'll also be talking about the 60th anniversary of the Avengers and the X-Men. But first, Mr. Almighty, how you doing?
I'm not doing too bad. How have you been?
Doing good. It's just hotter than hell over here. We're in a heat wave.
Yeah, I think everybody is right about now. It was pretty warm today for us as well too.
What was your high?
Oh, close to 90. I'm sure
Oh
yours
yeah,
was worse.
it was 93, but the air was very bad because of all the Fourth of July fireworks last night. So it was
Well,
very
ours is
unhealthy
pretty
air.
bad because of all the Canadian wildfires. Thanks,
Oh, okay.
thanks Canada.
Hello, Elizabeth. How you doing? I don't know about gorgeous faces. You might need to put your glasses on or something. Don't know if El Presidente is going to join us or not, but we shall see.
Okay.
I'll send him a quick text. So, did you want to just jump in, or did you want to kind of updates, or how do you want to do it, sir?
I don't have any updates besides that, I don't have any updates unless you do. I'm doing fine. I'm doing well, considering. So, we can jump right into it if you want. Where do you want to start?
Well, we'll start with Mr. Romita. Um,
Okay.
as I said, it was a big shock. Not a shock, actually. Um, it was
No.
news that people were expecting. Um, the comic place where the online comic store that I buy my stuff, Climate Jungle Comics, they do two broadcasts, a Wednesday and a Saturday, and they do the last portion of the show is usually original art, and that is done by Mr. Spencer Beck. He's a former inker, and now he's an agent for all the artists, and so he sells the original art. And I guess he was very good friends with the Romitas, so he would actually go to their home, pick up original art, or when he completely retired, just about a year or 18 months ago, he went into his home and he took, went through their closets and stuff and just started selling stuff. Fortunately, I couldn't afford some of the stuff that they were selling because it is,
Yeah.
Mr. Romita. It was all original artwork. That he just kind of doodled and did this and did that. Um, but I believe it was in January was the final signing that they were going to try and do, and it was only limited to like 25 or 30 books to be sent in, and they had to cancel that because even doing just that, John was having trouble writing his name, and it's not like he did it in cursive either. I mean, his entire career, he's always block lettered his name, so even that was too much for him. So we kind of knew the end was coming near, and I had a feeling when John Romita Jr. canceled his appearance here at the end of May in Ontario at a comic convention, something was up, and then we just heard few uh, a few days later. The one that
Right.
started it all in
Yep.
his in his Marvel Spider-Man career. For me, personally, I think John Romita is the best Spider-Man artist ever. Um, Ditko and Kirby were great, but they were more that 50 style where it wasn't as intricate as it is, especially now. But he brought a more realism to the characters, that they looked real, not just kind of boxy style of art, kind of like the way Ditko did some of his art was a little bit boxy. But
Right.
John, when he started, I mean, you can just tell by the cover alone, you know, he just brought a new breath of life, I think, into the character and into the persona, where everybody um, kind of felt what Peter Parker was going through just by the way he was drawing and the
Yeah.
expressions that he would make his face and so on and so forth.
But also to start his career with an iconic cover.
Yes.
I mean, that is one of the most iconic covers you're going to see of Spider-Man. I mean, he just started right off the bat. You know, number 40 wasn't no slouch either, but that is one of the most iconic covers, or one of the most iconic covers of Amazing Spider-Man a career. Because, I mean, right there says it. I mean, that just tells you all. I mean, talk about, I mean, and talk about his style. I mean, look at his Mary Jane.
Yeah. I mean, he brought the beauty into the artwork. You know, he made Peter Parker handsome. You know, of course, Mary Jane was drop dead gorgeous. You know,
Well,
and
so
then,
was I mean, and so was this Gwen.
oh yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
Ditko. Yeah, Ditko did fine, but you know, Ditko didn't do the sexy pinup stuff. Like, I mean, I guess that's what you would call it now. But I mean, his Gwen and his Betty and stuff were not like knockout gorgeous. You know,
yeah,
I mean, compared
exactly.
to what, you know, when Romita came on the scene and updated the art a little bit like that. So
Yeah, he made all the women more real, excuse me, more realistic looking,
yeah.
and
But when you start out doing romance comics, what else are you going to be? You know, you got to get used to
true.
drawing female figures like that. But that was his. I guess that's his first cover, right there. That
Yeah,
he did. That it got him started right there. But I mean, he
yeah,
had a lot of iconic covers throughout his Spider-Man career. I mean, I'm probably a lot more than anyone, I would imagine.
yeah. I mean, and he created so many characters. I mean, he was one of the co-creators of the Punisher, of Wolverine, of Wolverine. I know Punisher for sure. Mary Jane, of course. In fact, I had a list here. Yeah, he just well, he helped create a Bullseye, of course, Kingpin, Hammerhead, Hobgoblin. I don't know if you remember Man Martin Marco. He was a short-lived character. He
That
helped
was one of
create.
my favorite covers, though, with Man Mountain Marco. I
Yeah,
didn't put this on my list, but that was always like one. That was like one of my favorites, though, because
yeah,
you know that. But then that cover, I didn't. I mean, I saw the cover when I was swiping images, but I didn't
yeah.
down. I should ask if you're going to bring that up, but yeah, that was one of my favorites.
And he helped create Nova. Of course, Gwen's dad, George Stacy, Tigra, Vulture. Just, I mean, of course,
Well,
Mary Jane.
Vulture
I
would
mean,
have been
just
after him. I mean, Ditko drew
I,
him first, didn't he? Didn't he? Didn't Ditko?
I think he helped create the second Vulture.
Oh, the second one. Okay, well that's
Yeah,
okay. My bad.
the one that was a little bit younger.
Okay,
But
but you know,
he had, I mean, he had his hands in creating a lot of characters in the late '60s, early '70s. Yeah, he also created Luke Cage. So the man just, you know, he creative genius and his artistic skills were just beyond reproach.
yep.
I don't know if you guys can see this. I should have
Which
sent this
one
to
is
you.
that?
That's the Marvel Heroes and Villains. This is
Oh,
his
okay.
canvas of all the characters that he helped create.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I can see that pretty well. But yeah, oh yeah.
You know, so but
Where did I put the?
he was in charge he was art editor for a long time on Marvel and brought in a lot of talent. Um, Especially when in the 70s when they had that mass firings in DC when they cleaned house,
Yeah.
everybody kind of jumped to Marvel, and John, you know, from everything I've read and heard, um, he's like the nicest guy. Even when he was turning down an artist for a job or telling or critiquing the artist, a couple of artists that I read, they said that it was the nicest critique that they had ever gotten in their lives. You know,
Yeah.
but
And there's some of his pencils.
oh yeah, yeah.
So if you want to see some of his penciled work, there it is. And
And of
some,
course, all of his early stuff goes for outrageous amounts.
I bet. Yeah.
And then of course his son John Romita Jr. took over in the early '80s, and funny enough, on Spider-Man also, and they've
Yeah.
collaborated on a few things together. I have a print actually that's done by both of them, and
Yeah,
of course,
I was looking through Will-O-the-Wisp at that Junior did, and before he got his current style, that chunky style that he's working on, that he's
yeah,
been doing for the last.
I don't
It's
like that new
whatever
style.
whatever style you want to call it, the Junior style, I guess. So it's that he started doing, I guess. I don't know when he started doing it. I don't know if he started that when he was doing Kick Ass or not, but
I
anyway,
think it
that
was right about Kick-Ass time. But yeah, he got a lot. Let's just say his pencils weren't as tight anymore as they used to be.
no. Well, then he brought it up, but now he's been doing that. He's done it with Superman and a few other
Yeah,
titles, and
yeah.
he's but but anyway, but talk about here's another iconic cover that he did. Everyone remembers that one, of course. Well, anybody that's a
Oh yeah,
Spider-Man fan remembers that cover. I mean, that's
yeah.
that's iconic.
And I believe that introduced the Kingpin also, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was the first appearance of Kingpin,
Yeah,
as a matter of fact.
yeah. That's the iconic one. And
Uh,
that last panel in the page where he actually throws his costume in, where Peter throws the costume in the trash can and he's walking away.
yeah, yeah. And here's a Captain America cover that he did.
Yeah.
And,
It's a shame that he didn't. I mean, it's great that he was loyal to Marvel, but he worked very, very little other than those love story type of
yeah,
books with DC. He didn't really do, like a good run with Superman or Batman or anything like that. That would have been interesting to see with that style of his. Yeah, you could just see
well, I
the
guess, yeah,
just in the way he draws, you could just see the emotion.
yeah,
You don't need the words. You just see the emotions that elude from the pictures.
yeah. And you know, and here's one of my. I mean, this is one of my favorite ones that I always liked.
Oh yeah,
I mean, that's when I just about the time I was started collecting, maybe
mm-hmm.
a year and a half before. But that cover is when I saw that cover, like you can tell, look at that. That tells you so much crap. Just even though he's wearing a mask, you can tell that
Yeah,
you can still see the emotion in it because of the
yeah,
pose and all that stuff. And
yeah. The pose and the way he has the muscles, and yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
so he packed a wall up in everything he did. I mean, I know he did a lot of covers, and I showed that one. But you got to understand, the inside of the book was his too. I mean, he did it all.
yeah,
Once he took over Spider-Man.
yeah, and he made it his, and pretty much you ask any true comic collector, or historian, and say who is the most prevalent Spider-Man artist, Romita's at the top of the list.
Yeah, yeah,
And he did it for so long. There were some others that have done it for a while, but Romita just and he broke ground in the way he drew everything. That artistic style hadn't been done before.
no,
So
I mean, you can tell. I mean, the thing is you can tell a drastic difference. I mean, Ditko was good, but you can tell a big drastic difference. But when Ditko left off, and then here comes Romita, and and he just made it his own book too. I mean, you had two superb artists back to back on that book.
Yeah.
And so he cut his, like I said, he cut his teeth on the romance books. Like, I mean, everybody has to cut their teeth somewhere.
Yep. Exactly.
And he
That got him in the door.
And he worked his way up to Spider-Man. You know, one of the key books. Well, that's the book you want if you're in Marvel. I mean, that's the flagship. Yeah. You know, and that's where you want to go. And I don't know. I mean, he's my favorite. I mean, I know a lot of people say McFarlane, but everybody has their own style. And really, you can't say there was a bad artist on Spider-Man. You really can't go, well, this guy, but they all had their own style, though. I mean, you know, even after, you know, it wasn't like they're going to put a sucky artist on Spider-Man because that's their flagship book. You know, we're not going to go, but they each their own. But Romita is one of the better ones.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, like we keep going back to Junior, you know, his early style was great, kind of like his dad. I don't know whether he was just doing it to honor his dad, and then when he came back for his second run, the one he's on now, where his artistic style is a little more rougher. I don't know if that's truly the way he wanted to draw, or that's just the way it's kind of progressed since he is older. I mean, Junior's like almost 70. So
yeah, I mean, well, it's hard. You know, I mean, some people get it lost that Junior's been doing it for so long because, you know, some people like, well, he just started with Kick-Ass. Well, no, he's been doing this for decades, like his father has.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you're talking about the Will of the Wisp, that's still 1980 or something. Yeah. I mean, this is early
82, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't like, you know, and his style, like, and maybe he found this new style during his break. Maybe he won. I don't know, or maybe he just, you know, as he got older, said, "I don't want to screw it." I mean, you know, but who knows?
Yeah. And he's had a lot of great inkers that clean it up a lot. I mean, Scott Hanna, I've seen, like I said, on Climate Drama Comics, when they show the artwork, there's been a couple of times where they'll show the pencils and then the finished inks on a separate page, and Scott Hanna has cleaned up his pencils so much, you know. You can still see the roughness. I mean, because Junior, they do a lot of commissions on Climb McDonald that you can get Junior to do a 11x17 commission. And unfortunately, his Batman looks exactly like his Wolverine that looks exactly like his Daredevil. He just changes the points. So Daredevil has the horns, Batman has the ear, the bat ears, and then Wolverine just kind of has the flare in the back. Other than that, if you kind of put your hand up on top, the picture looks exactly the same. You know, so
yeah.
But yeah, they, you know, his dad. This one is my prize collection. That's Spider-Man in the Rain. It's on a canvas,
right?
And it's signed by Junior and Senior, and then let me see if I can close in on it. Senior did a gold Spidey head sketch on it. There we go. And then, of course, Stan Lee signed it in the middle. That was after the fact. But if I ever have to sell my entire collection, I have told everybody that is the absolute last thing to go. But
there's just Daredevil work.
Yeah.
One of his covers that he did. And that's also and that's also one of the iconic covers for Daredevil, him and Spider-Man. I mean, that's
18. Now, wasn't 18 the first team up?
That could be. I think so. Because at that time, Spider-Man would join would be on the cover to help sell a book that might, help sell a book to get it started. Yeah. I mean, back in the days when, well, let's improve sales. Let's put Spider-Man on the cover and that will pick up sales for a while. But then they became battling buddies like him and Spider-Man and Human Torch for a while, so yeah. And they became, because he started doing Daredevil with Marvel when he came on board. That was his first book he got was Daredevil. So then worked his way up. But then you can still see the power in that cover.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Exactly.
Romita was able to go from romance to superhero quite easily because romance is one thing, but drawing superhero comics is another. You're looking for different things. So
Yeah.
and he did a lot of he did Daredevil, Spider-Man, Cap. You know he he went through the Marvel universe as well. So
I can't remember if he did. He. I know he had some guest spots, but did he have a run on Fantastic Four? I don't think he did.
I don't think. Gosh, I
I
didn't.
know I know he had covers here and there. Maybe did some interior work here and there, probably to help someone out. But I don't think he actually had like a run itself.
No, I don't think he took over because he took over after Kirby because Kirby and Stan did that book for so long.
Yeah, yeah, over 100 issues.
Because Romita began drawing horror, war, and romance comics for Atlas, which before before it
Yeah,
became whatever Marvel. But he started doing those books and before, but
yeah. He did those books, and then he went to
yeah,
he enlisted into World War II, and I think he was there for like 2 or 3 years, and then when he came out,
yeah,
then I think he got picked up by Marvel.
yeah. So he began doing stuff for Atlas, and then he did Captain America. I think even before it was part of the Marvel universe. And then he worked at DC from 58 to 65.
Oh, okay, doing the romance stuff. Yeah,
For them too. And then he started with Marvel in 65 and did Daredevil. And then in 66, he took over Spider-Man after Steve Ditko left.
and the rest is history.
Yep. So
Such iconic covers. I mean, it's those guys back in. I mean, Romita and Neil Adams and everybody. Those guys were such workhorses. Not like it is now where you have one guy do interiors and another guy does the cover, and they only do one book. And even sometimes with the one book, they still they can't even bring it out on time. And you had these guys
and
like
they still
Romita and
complain. They
Ditko and
still complain about doing one book. So
yeah, and then you had Romita and Ditko and Kirby and all those early guys, Neil Adams and all those guys. Yeah, we're pumping out 5, 6, 7, 8 books at a time, doing interiors, doing covers.
Yeah.
You know,
Because of course, back then too, they had that. They ink it, and they hand it off to the inker because they were working side by side. I mean, they used to be in the same. They actually had a bullpen back then, so they'd all
the Mighty Marvel bullpen. That's right.
Yeah, I don't know how long that. Eventually that ended in the '60s, but still, it was a manufacturing setup where they just you pencil, I ink, and then and they kept it going, and they'd work because they weren't getting paid a lot of wages back then, so they had per page. They had to crank out work to crank out a living too.
Yeah, just like in fact, because Neil Adams has a comic book store it's still in existence since he passed, but he has the Krusty Bunker, and evidently that name goes back to in the 70s that's what they called their bullpen, the Krusty Bunker. So he said, just like the way he said he would pencil it, hand it off to the inker would ink it, then they hand it off to the letterer, and it would just kind of go around because they were all there.
Go around the table, or between tables. So I missed a cable, so I don't know if she's still there, but hello, Elizabeth. And yeah, they are coming for me, but it's
who's coming
the
for you?
It's the one with the nets. They're coming to take me away. They're coming to take me away.
You can dodge them.
Yeah, I know. Well, barely. Yeah, Roger, I don't think Roger's going to join us tonight, Elizabeth. He is.
No, he answered me back via text about 5 minutes ago. He said he doesn't think so.
He's kind of, I don't know. He's going to be on and off for the next several weeks. So we'll try to keep the ship upright while he's away.
Well, I don't know if you saw his Facebook post, but he did announce that he's not pregnant. That was the good news.
I saw that post that he wasn't pregnant, so we can move on from that. But yeah, so all we
But
know is that he's still going to be doing trekking across the universe, which will be on Thursday when so we can
so
go over
tomorrow.
Strange New Worlds.
So
Yeah, that is
tomorrow.
tomorrow. 4th of July has thrown me way off. I have no
Yeah.
idea what fucking day it is.
I know it feels like a Monday.
Yeah, I keep thinking, what the? Oh yeah, today's Wednesday. So yeah, I guess you're right. Eh, so
But John Romita, I'm trying to find out when he left Marvel. Let me see. Or not left, but I guess retired from Marvel.
yeah,
Probably because I know he officially retired. It was late last year because he was doing like little things. He was doing like remarks and stuff, and then he finally retired because I actually bought a few of his markers that were used by
yeah,
him through Climate Donald Comics and Spencer Beck. They were selling them because when he officially retired, he said, "Don't want anything, sell it all." So I picked up. I think I've picked up three over a few different chances that I had. They were selling pretty cheap. They were like $20.
yeah. And he became the art director in '73. So, and he was in that
Yeah,
capacity throughout the late '80s. It looks like.
yeah, I
So,
think so. Yeah,
and you're right. He helped design so many characters while he was there. Ooh, and Brother Voodoo. Yeah. All right. So yeah.
that is so an underused character.
Well, Brother Voodoo.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of underused people, but
Oh, I didn't know this. It says Romita based his design for Mary Jane Watson on Anne Margaret.
oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. And looking at her, I'm like, yeah, okay, I can
Yeah.
see it.
Yep. Oh, he also designed Black Widow
Oh,
outfit.
okay.
I guess he designed her outfit, which he based off of Miss Fury, which is an earlier Golden Age character. Hmm.
Let's see. Oh, okay. He inked the debut of the new Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau. I don't know. The black Captain Marvel, who I believe now is Photon.
Okay. So I don't think he doesn't say he ever retired. So I don't think
Yeah, yeah.
maybe he
Hey, that's
never
what I'm looking at
retired.
too.
I don't think he ever retired. I think they just left him on the payroll. I don't know, but doesn't say that he retired. He just said, just keeps going on and on. So more power to him. I mean, why not?
Good for him. And of course, he married his wife 60 years, 70 years. Let's see. He married her in 1952, Virginia, and they stayed married till he passed. So
Yeah.
they were married for 71 years. That's the way it was done back then. You got married,
Yeah.
you didn't get divorced. But his legacy
Oh,
will
did
live
he
on forever.
really? I did not
Huh?
know that.
What's that?
He suggested that to Gary Conway that Gwen Stacy should die.
Oh yeah, I thought I read somewhere. Yeah.
So I've been hating the wrong person all this time. So I did not know that. I thought that was all. Well, all I've ever seen was Gary Conway ask Stan about it, and Stan gave the okay.
Yeah.
That's all I knew. I didn't know. So
Yeah, I think Romita was the art director at the time,
yeah, and
or
he was because he took over. He was art director in '73, so that would have been when
yeah.
Andu took over, and I didn't know. I did not. So all this time, I just thought it was Conway. I did not think. I did not know Interesting that the art director would come up with that idea.
And I remember also the controversy of that. Not only her dying, but did Green Goblin kill her, or was it Spider-Man that killed her?
Yeah, the webbing. Yeah, did his webbing
Yeah,
snap her
because you
neck?
see the snap of the neck.
Yeah.
But then other people had said, no, well, falling from that height, she would have been dead by the time the webbing hit her anyways.
Well, I heard that too, that, she fell unconscious, but every person's different. We don't know how far she fell. Well, despite that fact, she would have died hitting the water from that height.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have mattered if it was Spider-Man's webbing or what, but once she was thrown off that bridge, she was dead. I mean, because hitting that water would have been like hitting concrete. So it wouldn't have mattered.
I remember.
So from that point of view, it was the Green Goblin, because as soon as he threw her off the bridge, she was dead.
She was dead.
Spider-Man, whatever Spider-Man was. But anyway, yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah, because you had that noise, and you're so, geez,
And it's funny because the comic book geek in me, the first time I went to New York, I went with work with Rite Aid. They went stores to do, and one of my days off, since I was in charge of the car. And one of the days off, everybody's trying to plan stuff to do. And I was like, guys, I need like 2 hours. I'll do it in the morning, and, we can go in about 10 o'clock in the morning, plan whatever you want. So I actually went out to the Washington Bridge, because remember, that's where the Green Goblin threw her off of, the Washington Bridge. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, I just saw Elizabeth comment where Anne actually mentioned that she was the model for Mary Jane. So I guess she knew about it.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sorry, big dog. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. So I drove to the Washington Bridge just to see it. There's a comic book geek in me.
Yeah,
it's a big bridge.
So with that height of just
most definitely, because it was a suspension bridge,
right?
So it had the peaks, and it was pretty high. So definitely, even she would hit that water, she would have been dead anyways. Roger, I see, is in the chat room. I don't know what 1952 means.
When they were married.
Oh, okay.
That goes back to when Romita married his wife, and then I guess the while is because they were married for so long, because it seems unbelievable these days. So
of course. But by all accounts, so like I said, ever since he's retired, or even throughout his career, I don't think I've ever read a bad thing about him being said about him at all. From all accounts, from every single person that's ever talked about him, he was like the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah. Let's see. Gil Kane's last issue on the first run was 95, and then Gil Kane took over.
Okay.
And that's not a bad person to have take over for you either. Is Gil Kane. I mean, like I said, you just keep going on. I guess after Gil Kane would have been Ross Sandu then. So.
Yeah. I mean, great artists have like you said, Spider-Man was the book to be on. You wanted to be recognized and such. If they put you on the Spider-Man book as the main artist, you were there. You made it.
Well, either that or Fantastic Four too. I mean.
Yeah. And later on in the
same thing with DC. If you made Superman, well, there you go.
Yeah, Superman and Batman, and in the 80s, if you would have, because as of right now, it's still Spidey is still the number one hero or number one character in Marvel, followed by Wolverine. So of course, if they put you on a Wolverine book, you also made it. But Spider-Man's always been the everyman hero, I guess, because he connects with so many people across the board, with first the teen angst, and then the college problems, and now his adult problems that he has, that pretty much every single person in the US has. And I think that was the connection that everybody loves Peter Parker and Spider-Man, of course. Right. And you get the artist to convey that in their drawing, and like we said, Romita was the guy to first start that. Ditko and Kirby were great, but they just couldn't convey the emotions like Romita could. Right. And it's gotten better since then. Or not better, but it's been done since then by all the other great artists that have covered Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't think Romita did any Fantastic Four. I can't find anything anyway. But if he did, he did. But still, not very limited. I think he did. Like it seemed like after he did Spider-Man, then he became the art director a little
Yeah.
while after. So that mean he can't do artwork. I mean, he still did corrections and stuff of other. Well, being the art director, I guess he would do that. But still, you know. But he had a long run on Spider-Man too. I mean, what was it? 39 to 95. That's a lot of issues.
Yeah. And
I
then
could get out your calculator and let us know what that is. So.
And then sporadically after that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who would you think would be the longest tenure? Probably Bagley, but that's Ultimate Spider-Man, but still, Bagley did.
Because Bagley and they both did 100 issues? Didn't they make sure they lasted 100 issues, right? Both of them.
Bagley did like 115
or whatever. It was a long run. I thought it was at least 100. I know that.
Yeah.
Sure. Spider-Man. Okay, after he took over from McFarlane.
That was Larson took over from McFarlane.
An Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But you're talking about Spider-Man. Bagley on Spider-Man. Or are you talking about Bagley on Amazing Spider-Man? I know I'm getting confused. A lot of titles here because.
Well, Bagley his big run that was on Ultimate Spider-Man.
Okay, Ultimate Spider-Man. Never mind. Yeah.
Yeah. It says here about Romita and Fantastic Four. Yeah, he only did a couple of fill-in issues, and he only did a couple of fill-in issues also for Captain America.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't think he had done.
And now Bagley,
okay.
I think Bagley's back to doing a Spider-Man book. Yeah.
I have a couple of Bagley original art pages. What was I going to say? Just had it right now. Oh, I didn't realize this one. He also did the
110.
Did the Spider-Man did the.
Go ahead. Never mind.
Oh, Bagley did 110.
Yeah, you got that at 110.
Oh, okay.
But still, it's a long run.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't know Romita did the Spider-Man Sunday comic strips.
Yeah, him and Lee did that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So however long that lasted, I mean, whenever they started that until it ended, so yeah.
It said, I thought it was a lot longer than the strip. It says Romita was the artist, the Spider-Man comic book strip from its launch on January 3rd, 1977 through late 1980. So pretty much 3 full years.
Well, it's
a good run, though. I mean, having to do, even though the strip is only 5 or 6 panels, it's still work to do on top of everything else.
Yeah, but it's a daily strip too. When you've got a,
yeah,
I know they have somewhat of a running start, but still, it's a daily strip, and you just
Yeah.
And I wonder if they still did the Marvel style during the comic strip where Romita would hand him 3 panels and Stan would have to fill in the words.
Yeah. And for those people who don't know, that's usually not the way it's done, people. Usually the writer writes out on paper what he wants the scenes to be on a particular page or how the story's going to go. And then the artist draws what he in his mind sees, what the writer wrote. So to have it do the opposite way, guys, is really tough. Where the writer doesn't know what's going on, he just gets handed, a bunch of action paper poses and such, and has to figure out the story to go with it. So
yeah,
a little bit harder to do that way.
Well, you can't blame for Stan coming up with that method because he was in charge of all the books, and why? Let's let Kirby do it. and Ditko do it. Well, I just stand over here and then fill in the words. Even though Stan did have them redraw pages to help fill in, to do his whatever he came up with. And well, Stan's job couldn't be any easier. I mean, you get handed blank pages. Now you got to come up with a story, even though you might have a plot idea to begin with, or sometimes not. Kirby would just hand in pages and just say, "Here you go." Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So but either one is not an easy job, no matter what. I mean, even an artist is told to draw something, he might still do it his own way. But still, that was the Marvel way. Because DC went, their writers would go into great detail into each panel. Where for a while there, and then all of a sudden, since Stan was in charge of everything in writing, he just let the artist do most of the work while he then would come back in and do all the writing. But anyway,
yeah, the only person I think that came close to doing something like that now would have been Mark Bagley, because he was doing like 6 or 7 books a month on time and drawing, and every single story was different. I mean, Bagley to me was the closest to a throwback, 50s, 60s artist that I think that's come through, because I couldn't, grasp the fact that he's able to do all these different books, crank them out on time, different stories, not even close to, them being the same story. And he did it for a couple of years, where he was cranking out 6, 7 books a month.
Yeah.
You don't see that now. Like we said earlier, I mean, you get these artists right now that have trouble doing 1 book per month.
Yeah. That's true. But I don't think they do the Marvel way anymore. I think they just they don't. They probably went back to the old way. But the thing is, with the way the system's set up now, with the internet, you can go back and forth really fast between writer and artist. I mean, you got to remember that there came a time when these pages were mailed to everybody, mail, snail mail.
Yes.
You'd get this envelope from FedEx or whatever, and then you'd open it up and go from there. And if you did any corrections, you had to mail it back. So, I mean, it was a lot different. Now it's just like you can just send that file back and forth. It's been that way for a couple of decades now, but still. So
yeah, like I said, I've been the last year or two been collecting a lot of original art, and even though they've said it, that it's still the same to me. Having inks on pencils directly is more to me original art than having a blue line or a gray line inked, because it was faxed, because the penciler lives in Cleveland and the inker lives in LA,
Right.
So I don't know, how do you feel? Do you feel that the value is the same if you have original inks on pencils? Do you feel that value is the same or more, or if you have pencils?
Well, you mean today when they just have it inked in Photoshop or whatever, and then they
inked on blue line, which is faxed. So in other words, I'll fax you the original.
Oh, I didn't know they could do that. I mean, that? Because I mean, to me, you're not. If you're, I don't know. I mean, to me, it's like inking is a lost art because they do all that stuff on computer now. I mean, there is no inker. I mean, you don't see one having an ink brush anymore. They just do it on a computer nowadays. It's been that way for a long time.
Yeah, a lot of them do, but there's still a lot of traditional inkers. So what they'll do is, like, say if I'm the artist near the inker, or I'm the penciler near the inker, I'll ink my page of Spider-Man, and I then fax it to you, and you print out my pencils on 11 by 17, either gray line or blue line. So all my pencils are either blue or gray, and
that's
then
a big
you ink
fax
over
machine,
that.
Big dog.
Huh?
That's a big fax machine.
That's how most of these guys do it. Because I have gray lines.
I didn't know they made fax machines that big, and they still use fax machines. I thought that was a dinosaur as well.
Or however they print it out, but it's either printed out on blue line paper or gray line paper.
But anyway, what you're saying is that they would just send them a reproduction of ink.
Yes. So in essence, you have 2 sets of originals. You have pencil originals, and then you have ink originals.
Oh, okay.
I'm too old school. I like inks over pencils.
Well, yeah, that's the way. Well, yeah, but but then they've been using computers to ink
Yeah.
stuff for a long time. But but if someone actually does use an ink brush, well, that's inking. That's I guess I guess I've been using Photoshop for so long that I still
Mm.
require my old school no matter what. I mean, yeah, I can, because that way even I can do it. Yeah, send me your pencils. I'll ink them. I mean, I know Photoshop. I'll ink that motherfucker. I mean, I'll ink it for you right now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean, if
Because
you can, and since Photoshop is so common now, because everybody. But anyway, there was a time when you had to have people. Not everybody knew Photoshop. But I'm just
yeah.
saying. But if you gave me actual pencils and gave me an ink brush, I'd fuck that up. I'd screw it up. But you send me put it on Photoshop. Well, then yeah, I'll be able to. I know what to do with that.
Yeah.
But inking, go
There's
ahead.
still a lot of big time inkers out there. I mean, like Scott Hanna, Danny Mickey, Drew Hennessy. Um, Shoot, I can't think off the top of my head, but there's a ton of still inkers that don't do digital, you know, and people have asked them, and then there's just the opposite. There's others that there are no original pencil pages because they do all their work on on the computer.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess, but anyways, we're veering from the topic. That wasn't
Yeah.
done back in the day. There was none of that this kind of stuff in the 60s and 70s, 80s, 90s. In the 90s probably is when it started. And I know around the early 2000s was when they started getting rid of the word balloons on the actual pages and put those in digitally afterwards.
Oh yeah. If you want me to do digital word balloons, I can do that too. Well, I'm just saying I did that once for a comic.
Oh, okay.
They sent me the pages on a file and I just made them an Illustrator.
Hmm.
And then
Okay.
but then using Illustrator, but still I mean, yeah, I know what you mean. They don't use. There's no one actually. That's why calligraphy is a dead art. I mean, you don't have to worry about that. You know what I mean? Because the
Yeah.
person that lettered had actually, that's actually someone's writing. And like Rosa, who knows how many books did he ever? I mean, he inked everything Marvel seemed like. So, but yeah, but a lot of that's good. A lot of that's automated these days. But yeah, there's still old school out there. They're still using them. But that's part of the problem too. Is that when you go digital, that means there's less original art to buy,
Exactly.
which makes the older stuff even more expensive because you're not going to find those pages hardly anymore because it's all
Yep.
digital. So original art, if you want, is so it's and now that you have AI doing artwork now, it's even going to be more of an
Oh,
issue.
do not get me started with
I'm not.
AI.
This is not the. Yeah, we're not going to go there.
That is such a hot topic right now in the comic world.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah. So
All right. So, also, we are entering into the 60th anniversary of the Avengers and the X-Men, both who debuted in September of '63.
is that the
So,
actual month or the cover date? Cover date.
well, I have it first appearance Avengers 1 September of '63 and X-Men #1 September of '63. So I'm not sure if that was the distribution date or the
Well,
date.
regardless. Okay, so it was September.
Yeah.
So Elizabeth says script writing is also dead. So
Ah.
do you mean comic book script writing or movie script writing? Because I'll agree with the movie script writing being dead because there's nothing
She's probably talking movie script writing. Yeah.
that's been dead for a couple of decades now. If you want to look for original stuff, but yeah, 60 years, and
Yep. Older than Roger.
Older than Roger. Yeah. So, well, I was not aware that they came out the same month.
Neither was I. I thought they were. I thought they were a little bit different, but
Well, I thought.
um,
Well, I don't know. For some reason, I thought, yeah, okay, Elizabeth, I got you. You're right about that. She said movie,
yeah,
but you're right. I thought the X-Men came out even a year or so after the Avengers.
that's what I thought too.
I did not.
Uh, that was Lee and Kirby. They were just knocking that stuff out.
Yeah, I did, but I didn't. You think I like anyway? So they both came out at the same time, but it's interesting to know that the X-Men eventually. Well, gosh, they didn't last. It lasted for so long as an original, then it went into the reprint mode for a long time too. They kept the title kept coming out, they kept reprinting the stories, and and that's weird that even happened, because usually once a book just gets canceled instead of reprinting old stories over again.
Yeah, that was surprising that Marvel decided they must have had faith in it or something, or they saw, or Stan saw something in it, because I believe it was what, about the first 65 issues or so were original. Yeah, if that, and then it went.
And then it just because for a while there, Marvel was limited on how many books they could distribute because they went through DC, and DC DC said, look, we'll distribute your book, but you can only do like 6 or so titles. They couldn't do the plethora that they could do once they were released in the late 60s when they were able to find another distributor. But, after all that nonsense with Congress, a lot of distributors shut down, or just stopped doing it. So, Marvel had to turn to DC, which is pretty weird too. But, but they weren't all, they was like they were cutthroat back then, but.
Yeah, Raj, when the X-Men came out, they were original stories for maybe about the first 50 to 60 issues or so. And then they decided to just reprint what they had previously written as the stories went on. So they were just reprinting the older stories until issue 97. It was 97.
Yeah, 97 when the Giant Size in 97. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Giant Size relaunched the team, and then 97 started.
Yes. So then from 97 on was the new stories, and then it went Uncanny X-Men, something like 123 or something like that, 125. I can't remember with the exact number. But when X-Men first broke out, it was something else, because you had all these characters that were mutants, and that subject had never been touched before. That was something new and innovative, and I like Stan's version of that, because he said he wanted to include everybody that felt they were different, so in society. So he decided to make these characters different from every other hero that was out there.
Or so he says afterwards, after the fact.
Yeah.
You're right. It was 66 with the original run for X-Men, and then 1970, and then I guess it was so I guess if you're going to go to 1970, well then I guess that they could afford to do that, but still you'd think once the book was canceled they would just let it go. But
yeah. And then on the flip side, you had, of course, the Avengers, which was probably their second stab at a team group other than the Fantastic Four.
Well, it depends which. I guess the Avengers and the X-Men came out the same week.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't know. Okay. I mean, depends. Well, since there was no direct distribution, who knows who got what when? But I guess they were supposed to be distributed the same week. But so I guess they're tied at a second attempt, and it seemed like they both were successful. I mean, X-Men lasting 7 years is nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah. And then, of course, with the Avengers, you had the original 4. And then, of course, with issue number 4, which brought back Captain America. And from there, they shot through the stratosphere, bringing him back.
Yeah.
So, and, of course, they've introduced all kinds of characters since then. And, Ant-Man. Ant-Man is the... Damn, they lost again. Ant-Man, he's gone through so many changes. what was he? Ant-Man, Yellow Jacket, Giant Man. He was Hawkeye for a while, wasn't he? No, Hawkeye was Giant Man. Never mind.
Well, I know that when they had Tales to Astonish, that was Hulk and Giant Man at first.
Yeah.
Before it became Hulk and Submariner, but then he had his own. I guess you could say he had his own title for a while.
Yeah.
Then they put them all in the same book, and the Hulk lasted 5 issues before they found out that he was too crazy or too unpredictable to deal with, and then he went on his own way. But yeah, and then, and to the much chagrin of John Simon, Kirby let Stan use Captain America. So
yeah, yeah, that was maybe our next show we can talk about the
that
the things that happened to Schuster and Simon and
oh gosh,
Bill and Kane and those guys that did not
well,
get
not
paid.
Kane, not so much, but yeah, we'll go with that.
Well,
Kane,
I mean, or the fact that Bill Kane took all the credit when Bill Finger was a big part
okay,
of that.
you didn't say Bill Finger, you said Bob Kane.
No, I know. I should have said Bill Finger, but yeah, Bill Finger.
Kane was smart enough to use a lawyer, so I mean, maybe he did for a while there. Who knows what kind of agreement he had, but still, if you want to talk about someone that got screwed, that must be Simon and Schuster. Yeah, that is, if you really want to delve into. And it depends on how you look at Kirby and Ditko too about being in the same boat. It depends on what you. There's a lot of ways that can go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because so many people say, "Oh, Stan Lee created the entire Marvel universe." It's like, no, he didn't. He was a co-creator, but he didn't create them all. He had help. There were always 2 guys together, sometimes 3.
And there were, it's like here's the main thing. The first time Stan saw the Silver Surfers when Kirby handed in the pages.
Yeah.
There was, Stan had nothing to do with the Silver Surfer. I mean, it was like Kirby handed him the pages, like, who's this guy with the surfboard? And so. And of course, Kirby never liked the way that Stan wrote him when he got his independent title, but that's another story too. So, I mean, and you got to realize that there are probably a lot of characters that Kirby created that had nothing to do with Stan, but yet Stan took a lot of credit. But Stan was a great talker and could command the audience, and he was a great storyteller. Period. And Kirby and Ditko, those are the guys behind the scenes who were like, I just want to draw, Yeah, that was their thing. Well, we've seen some of the writing too, and they did need Stan.
That's true too.
They all pitched in, and then as time went on, Stan became the main face. Of course, Stan was also taking care of all the publicity too, and doing the Marvel bulletins, and also doing the bullpen page and all that. I mean, he was really actually became the face of comics because he's the only one out there really got the bullhorn going there in the 60s. And so Stan was able to control the narrative, especially when he was the editor-in-chief at Marvel for the time. But anyway, that's another story for another time. That would take up all night if you want to go in that direction.
Yeah, there's been a lot of artists and writers who have been screwed over by other artists and also the companies themselves, and Marvel and DC.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, that is definitely an episode worthy topic.
That goes. Yep. Because I think it took, not until the 90s there was actually any kind of profit sharing going on. Yeah, and you had to hit a certain ceiling too. You got to hit what $100,000 in sales,
something like that,
to get any kind of royalty.
Yeah.
So,
and that was only after them being sued. And I think Neil Adams was one of the main guys that got the whole thing together to say, hey, these people need to get paid. A lot of people thought Neil was a cranky old man, but he did a lot for comics as far as the older guys getting paid, and future guys also, because now everybody gets part of the pie, so to speak.
Right.
But that was unheard of back then.
Yeah, but back in the 90s, comics were selling too, so they could actually.
Yeah, that is true. Everybody was.
Yeah.
Then you
But,
had those stupid
yeah.
issues that, like X-Men 1 that sold, a million copies, and there were 5 different covers, and each sold 1 million, and
Yeah.
or Spawn 1, they had 1.5 million, and even now people are like, why is it only worth $10? Well, because there's 1.5 million copies out there, dummy.
Yeah. No one. Yeah. I mean, Image put out a lot of product. I mean, yeah, and they sold a lot of product too. But still, I mean, and of course that was a big controversy back then too.
Yep.
I mean, even with because there were fans that didn't like them going on their own. They didn't want to see McFarlane leave Spider-Man. They didn't want to see these people leave DC and Marvel start their own company. So they were actually getting kind of almost got some backlash from that too.
Yeah, and I at first I was mad, but then when I read why they left, I was like, okay, I understand. You guys want to get paid. I totally understand that. Go off and do your own thing. You're gonna be it's gonna work because you guys are all the top guys. When
so what show comes to mind, Elizabeth? Seinfeld? No, sorry, is it Seinfeld? But
90s. Oh, geez. Seinfeld 90s.
And I can't believe I'm saying back in the 90s too, because or anything back in the whatever, sound like my grandpa and my dad. Well, back in our day, we walked a mile uphill in bare feet to get to our comic shop or the retailer to get our comics, But still, we're at that age now where we get to say that. I guess I didn't think we'd ever get there, but here we are back in the day.
Or people say, 30 years ago, and we're thinking, oh yeah, that was like the 70s, and we're like, no, 30 years ago that was the 90s. They're like, holy shit.
Oh yeah, I still can't get over, when someone says they have an old comic, I still think of something done in the 60s.
Mm-hmm. And they show you something from the 90s?
Yeah. Or
early 2000s?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like,
yep.
They have an old, because, people thought they had old comics, even in the 2000s, they thought they had an old comic that was made in the 90s. I'm thinking, no. But yeah, but still, to me, an old comic is from the 60s. I mean, I don't think of, even though a comic in, that's me. I just, us, whatever.
Oh, I agree.
When you say old comic, 60s, Silver Age, no, the one that was printed last month.
Someone says old comics, and I think Golden and Silver Age.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I don't think modern. But with the X-Men, what was interesting the way they portrayed them. They were outsiders. Professor X trying to get them all in unison. But the later issues, I thought, dealt with a lot more things that were happening in the world. In the 70s and late 70s and stuff, when they started talking about, like the run with Storm when she was with the I can't remember the people that were underground. Remember the Marauder? Was it the Marauders?
Could have been. I don't remember.
Who are
you talking about right now?
X-Men. The X-Men run later, like in the 200s.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't follow X-Men.
Okay.
I mean, I saw these books come and go, but I was too concentrated on my Spider-Man. I really wasn't into teen books back then.
Okay.
I like the, so yeah, I did. I did see I saw X-Men #1 and just didn't buy it.
I saw now you're kicking yourself now.
Yeah, I saw it on actually it was on it wasn't in the rack, it was on the newsstand because I guess whatever. And I looked up, okay, that's nice. Here's Spider-Man. So I mean, I didn't think anything of it at the time.
The Chris Claremont run, I think, was their best run when they had those stories that Dark Phoenix and the Brood and all those other storylines. I thought it was great storytelling at the time. Even now it holds up.
Well, I read them later on, but still.
Yeah.
But still, so and I know, but still, when the original thing is going on, it's like, yeah, and then now it's like, oh crap, I've looked at it.
How do
Oh, I saw
how do
it.
you how do you feel about comics now? I think to me most of the storylines are crap. Sorry, you and I have been around for so many years, so many decades, reading all the stories that we've read, and then I look at the stuff now, and some of the artwork, even some of the artwork inside, I'm like, what the hell is this? You know,
Well, that's
but
true. I don't know. I mean, the stories today, some of them are okay, and
yeah,
I mean,
I
the
will.
end of the Spider Verse was not all that. I don't know what that was all about. I mean, I read it and it seemed like, well, whatever.
Yeah,
And Spider Man can be okay now, but you're right. You're right about some of the artwork. And plus, I don't think they're. I don't know. Well, before the Hulk series before the last one was pretty good,
okay.
and this one with the Starship Hulk was not all that great. And I have not gotten the new relaunch Incredible Hulk yet to see how. I heard it's pretty good. I don't know,
Okay.
but
Um,
I'm just saying
I,
not all of it's bad, but it's still the art is not there. And plus I'm tired of everything being crossover.
yes,
The
I
mega
agree.
storyline has lost its.
I think DC as a whole is doing a better storytelling job than Marvel is on a whole. It seems like they have better stories in multiple books versus Marvel books. Um, I think what everybody right now is in the craze right now, I think, is the multiple covers. Every single book. I mean, first, okay, it's the 25th issue or it's the 100th issue. Then you'd get 2 or 3 covers. But now, almost every single book, every single month, it's a main character. It has 3, 4 covers.
Right.
And
Well,
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
I was going to say
I was gonna,
I can't see how independent companies can stay alive doing 9 different covers of a single book. I just don't see how that
I
happens.
agree.
And
I agree.
I guess that's why some are gone now, right? IDW and all those people.
Yeah.
But and I believe I agree, Elizabeth. I think a lot is being phoned in right now.
Yep.
So it's too bad, but still, go ahead.
Every month, Dynamite comes out with their new issue of Vampirella, and there's always.
I guess they're the biggest criminals, aren't they? Dynamite. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Okay, like it was just last week. I think it was offered last week. I don't collect Vampirella, but the books that are offered, he puts it on the list and you pick what you want.
Right.
So he had them listed, and Vampirella had, I believe it was 8 different covers. And it was just issue 23 or whatever.
Yeah, I don't see how. That's what I'm saying. How do they stay going with so many different?
I will say they weren't expensive because I've seen like the 1 in 10 variant is $10, the 1 in 25 variant is $30, so on and so forth. These books were all between cover of $3 to about $10, but there was still 9 different covers, and it was, the regular cover, a virgin cover, then there was a ultraviolet purple cover, and then there was ultraviolet red cover, there was an acetate cover, but still, it's still a multiple of covers,
right?
And when I was younger, I used to be one of those completist type where I had to have, if there was a cover A and a cover B, I would buy both.
You go broke now, big dog.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah. I just pick the best cover I like, unless it's a cover artist that I really like, then I'll maybe pick that one and maybe the main cover.
You pick the cover. Yeah. Same here. I mean, if there's, okay, here's cover A, but if one of my favorites is doing one, well, that's what I'm going to grab. Okay, that's what I want.
Exactly.
Yeah, give me cover D by whoever, and
like for me, I love Lee Bermejo. He does a lot of Detective Comics covers and Batman covers, and just in the way he draws, it's so realistic looking. He even makes the costume, wrinkled in certain spots, and because he's crouching or whatever. And I just love his artistic style. So whenever I see his cover, I always take that cover versus all the others. And like, I don't know about you if you're up on the new artists and stuff, but like Peach Momoko, have you seen her covers? She's a Japanese artist, but they're cutesy. She's pretty much hit and miss, mostly miss for me.
What
I'm
title
not
does she?
real.
Well, what does she do? A certain book or?
She actually was doing covers for pretty much a lot of Marvel covers, and I think Marvel. She was doing some DC stuff, but I think Marvel locked her up to a exclusivity contract, so she does Marvel covers. Doesn't do any interiors, just covers.
Just covers.
But yeah, but it has an Asian flair to it, and even the Climb McDonald Comics when we're on, he's doing his live show and you can type in your questions. I'm like, how do you guys feel about Peach? And they all have said the same thing. They're like, she's hit and miss. Some are great, some are not. I'm not real big on Scotty Young either, where he does little kitty covers. I'm too much of a traditionalist, I guess.
Well, I don't get too many of today's comics. I think I get a Spider-Man and the Hulk just because, being a completist, I just can't stop. Yeah. No matter how bad some of them get, I still, and maybe I don't read them all because the storyline is sucky, but I still can't stop.
Yeah, I get you. No, I totally get you on that one. Same thing with me.
I guess I'm trying to make my way to Spider-Man 1000 is what I'm trying to do. Since they've been doing Spider-Man almost every week, that's getting closer than it's supposed to be, but still.
Yeah, it's what are we at, 923 or something like that now?
9, yeah, something like, we're the 900. So
yeah.
Within probably a few years, we'll be hitting 1,000, yep. Then we'll get that $20 special edition.
Oh God. Yeah, 900 had a bunch.
But, 900 did too. But that doesn't seem like that long ago either. I mean, right now there's not that big difference when they keep hitting a centennial. Because I mean, I figured out it took a monthly book took 8 years and 4 months to hit 100. Okay, if you do any, I could actually do simple math, so I was able to figure that out. But now, with today's climate, it takes a fraction of that time. So.
Oh yeah, because they come out weekly, they come out bi-weekly. During summertime they'll do it every week. I mean, and I feel sorry for the people that collect. Like I used to collect a ton of books every month, and it's not economically feasible anymore to do something like that. I mean, I used to get like all the Spidey books, all the FF books, all the Batman, all the Superman, all the JLAs,
right.
And now forget about it. I try and just keep it to the Batman books, Spidey books. I'm a sucker for JLA, pretty much for all the incarnations of that. But I love JLA, and it depends on fringe books. I got to get back into the Hulk. I've been hearing a lot of good things about this new run.
Well, I just started up, so I have to get to the shop to buy it yet. I mean, it's in my pool. I just got to get there, and I'll be going there Friday in a couple of days. I'll be able to pick that up, and then I guess I'll be able to let you know.
Drop a couple $100 on there, huh?
So, and so I mean that was because when I first started, my main books were Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Hulk. That's where they were the first three I picked up off the rack, and then I just been going ever since then. So that's what I've been doing.
I used to collect Iron Man, and then when it took weird tangents on Iron Man, I was like, I can't deal with them anymore.
Well, yeah, I stopped that too when it got too much with the Fing Fang Foom stuff, and I just said, well, and the artwork started going downhill too.
Yeah.
But still, having the complete run and everything, still, I mean, at the point now goes, but
what's cool is in that Clyde McDonald Comics, Bob Layton is another one of Spencer's clients, and he offers up about every 3-4 months he offers up commissions, and of course he's always inundated with Iron Man requests. What I didn't know is
Yeah.
he does one reproduction a year of the Tony Stark in a bottle, the famous
Yeah.
cover.
Yeah,
He
that
says
is.
everybody. Yeah, he says everybody always asks for that one, but he only does one a year. So if you're lucky enough to get one, he does it, but it's only one year.
Yeah, and that was controversial back in the day
Oh,
too.
big time,
Oh
yeah.
my! I knew one guy that was. I had a collector friend that loved Iron Man, and when that came out about him being an alcoholic, he stopped.
Really?
He
Wow.
couldn't. He couldn't handle his hero being that.
That effed up.
Yeah, that messed up. Not that real. I like realism, but not that real. Me, I did. I just took it. I just kept going.
Yeah, I love that
I
cover.
mean,
I thought it was, one of the better covers.
everybody had their foil. I bet I didn't, but it was. But still, we're talking back in the early days, and we're talking about alcoholism back in the '80s. I mean, and
Yeah.
this was, so it was controversial back then. You know, not. I mean, but a lot of people complained about going that route, but still, I just took it at, the storyline. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody said the
That's the way the
same thing
storyline
about
was.
the drug issues of Spider-Man, but
Yeah.
so, you have to move on.
Romita left right before that, right? The
Yeah.
Spider-Man, those.
Right. But I think the last issue was 95.
Yeah.
Those would have been Gil Kane that did those.
Yeah, that was unheard of back then. For those people who don't know, back in the 70s, I think it was in the 70s.
Right at the beginning of the Bronze Age, right?
Yep. So what it is, for the people that don't know, all comics have or at least they used to. Now they don't.
Used to.
Now it's not as stringent. But back then in the 70s, every single book had to have be approved by the Comics Code Authority, and
Yep.
that was because of the 60s, 50s
Late 50s
government.
Senate.
The Senate, the seduction of the innocent type
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so Marvel wanted to do the drug issues, and I guess they took it to the Comics Authority, and they said we're not going to approve this. And Marvel went, well, we're going to run it anyways. So that was the first time, and that was unheard of back then. It was 3 issues, and it dealt with Harry Osborn, which was the Green Goblin's son,
Yep.
being a drug addict and having overdose and a drug-induced haze and the whole 9 yards. It was a 3-issue arc, and all 3 issues ran without the approval of the Comics Code,
Yeah.
and people were losing their shit because it didn't have the authority on it, and people were complaining, saying, "How could you produce this?" And then the Comics Code Authority were like, "Hey, our stamp
And
isn't on there, so
that was another one of those things. I thought for a long time, I thought Stan showed some guts for doing that, but then when I found out the government asked him to do it, okay.
Oh, I didn't hear that one. Okay.
Oh yeah, the government wanted him to do that. The government wanted him to do a drug issue, and because the government,
Yeah.
what better way to reach kids than at that time through comic books? So that's why he went ahead with it, because the government wants me to do it, so screw you. So
I could see that. And Spider-Man would be the right character for it, because
yeah,
Superman and Batman were too old. They didn't really identify with that crowd, because at that time would have been Peter Parker in his college years,
right.
early college years. And I could.
For someone that spent 40, 20, 30 years in college, yeah, that would have been yeah.
He's a slow learner.
Yeah.
But those issues were it was well written, and it didn't hide what was going on. And like Almighty said, the government asked him because the drug problem in colleges and amongst that age group was getting out of hand. So
yeah, and it wasn't a single issue too. This went 3 issues.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, okay, we'll do one and done and get away from the comics field. This thing went 96 through 98.
Yep.
So it was a 3-issue storyline that Stan and Gil came up with, and to this day, they are still key issues.
Oh, big time.
Man.
Big time issues.
And
one for it being drugs, the other one, of course, because it doesn't have the code on it.
Right.
And just more great storytelling, more things that Marvel did right.
Yeah.
But,
yep.
Go
ahead.
No, I was gonna switch back to the X-Men, but go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Well, I'm just saying that, yeah, that's true. I mean, I just bought the back. You see, it's kind of weird seeing a comic back without the comics code back. When you were back in that day. But still, trying to complete your run, you need them. So, and plus you read them, and like I said, a 3 issues without the code. I mean, that's quite a gamble.
Yeah.
And we're talking early 70s too. We're not talking. I mean, we're talking. Everybody had a shit fit about everything back then. So, well, we're just coming out of the summer of love, and and everything else back there, getting out of the 60s, and now we're in and we're having this stuff thrown at us too. So I mean, yeah. But okay, you're gonna go back to the X-Men?
Just talking about. I just wanted to talk about like Jean Grey and Phoenix, and how she's died about 5 times now and come back.
Is that it?
Maybe more.
Well, we've been in this game long. We've been in. How many times has Norman Osborn come back? Big Dog and Aunt May and whoever else you want to discuss.
Well, everybody else is.
We've been in this game long enough that everybody comes back from the dead by now, Big Dog.
The only person that has never come back, although he came back as an alternate reality, so I'm not counting it, is Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben has never really come back. He came back that one time, but he was from an alternate reality. But other than him, Bucky came back, Robin came back, Norman's come back multiple times. I mean, no one ever died.
So was Harry.
Yeah. But I think Jean Grey takes the cake. She's the champ of the comebacks.
Yeah.
She's come back so many times.
She has that Dark Phoenix. She can just keep coming back as long as she wants. At least she has an out. I mean, and at least, and of course, Gwen's only come back as a clone. So,
yeah. Now, during that Dark Phoenix storyline, were you collecting, or did you get that after the fact?
After the fact.
Oh, okay. Because I thought it was, like I said, good storytelling by Claremont. Was a brilliant.
Well, yeah.
Claremont, right?
I mean, after the fact, I found out, all those stories by those two, Claremont was awesome. I mean,
yeah.
No wonder it regained popularity after, once it came back with, Giant Size and then 97, and then just great stories. And they actually hit the X-Men with all that diversity stuff and, turning everything, everything. They were able to take Stan's initial idea and really build on it.
Yep. And I love the fact
after they captured actually when they thought, okay, let's try this Wolverine character out and see what happens with him.
Oh yeah, big part of the X-Men. But I love the fact though that the team changes constantly, but everything still seems to work. I love I've always loved the early years not the early years, but those years, the Phoenix years, with that love triangle between Wolverine, Scott, and Jean Grey.
Yeah,
that was pretty great.
And they caught that in the movies, at least when they did the early movies. They caught that at least. Like, okay, here we go.
It'd be interesting to see if Disney decides to continue the X-Men movies now that they own them again.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to see Disney do anything anymore, but well.
Well, we're gonna see Fantastic Four next year. That's for damn sure. They announced the characters. I don't know yet. We'll see.
Does the movie come out next year then, or are they just still pre-production?
I believe it comes out next year. Let's see.
Who's playing who?
I'll get you the guys right now.
Is Thing going to be CGI again and pantless?
Okay, Adam Driver. You know who he is, right?
Yeah.
So he's going to be Mr. Fantastic. Margot Robbie is Sue Storm.
Okay.
Paul Mescal is Johnny Storm. And David Diggs is Ben Grimm. I'm not sure on David Diggs who that is.
Is he going to be just a voice, or is he going to be like Chickless? An actual. I mean, I guess in this day and age, it wouldn't surprise me if they went CGI again, but
it doesn't say. Huh. I would assume probably CGI, unfortunately.
Well, they got it. Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, 2024.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, it's interesting. We'll see if it works. May of 2025, it says.
Mm. What did you say?
It's they have two dates. It looks like either November of 2024 or May of 2025.
Okay. Well, I can see Margot Robbie since she's the hot one right now.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, you got to admit it was fun watching Jessica Alba. But
yes, yes, it was.
Mm. I don't think we'll have any of those scenes again, but still.
I don't think they can do any worse than what Sony did with their version of it, with Michael B. Jordan and those other guys.
Yeah,
that was just a horrible movie.
I'm not sure about Adam Driver, but I mean I know who he is, but I don't know if he. I guess in today's world, maybe I don't even in today's world, but as long as they don't give him that gray streak of hair, maybe I don't know.
I would have liked what is it, John Krasinski, the one who did it in.
I can't get past. I keep expecting him to do a gymnasm. That's why I can't watch.
Okay.
I can't watch.
I can see that. I can see that.
I try to watch his show on Prime, Jack Ryan.
Oh, huh.
And I keep waiting for him to say something funny, and he just doesn't. I'm thinking, no, I can't do it. I can't. I'm sorry, I typecast him. I'm waiting for him to pick on Dwight. I just can't do it.
Okay, I can see that.
But maybe if I saw him as Fantastic Four, it would be. I mean, I gotta get used to him doing something else. I mean, I usually don't have that effect with other actors, but for some reason he's stuck in gym mode for me. I don't know why that is.
Well, he did a decent job when they showed when it was him. Oh God, it was him, Professor X. Remember that one scene? Was it Black Panther? Oh,
no, was it in the newest Black Panther movie?
It might have been.
I haven't seen it yet, so I wouldn't know.
Can't remember what the hell movie it was. Was it Spider-Man? No Way Home? I might have been the Spider-Man No Way Home where there's different dimensions.
Well, I didn't see a minute. I mean, it was just the three Spider-Men showing up. But the newest Wakanda,
I think it was in the Doctor Strange movie.
I haven't seen that one either. I'm behind on my Marvel. I'm behind on my Marvel movies as of the last one I've seen was the Spider-Man.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
whatever
pretty
it
sure
was
it was.
called,
I'm pretty sure it was a Doctor
Home
Strange
Alone.
movie, and he's jumping dimension. There's one dimension where it's the Marvel Illuminati, where it's
Okay.
Reed, what's his face from the Inhumans?
Okay. Like I said, I
Uh,
haven't seen it yet, but
yeah,
okay.
Submariner, Black Panther, and Professor X, and Krasinski is Mr. Fantastic,
Okay.
and the others like they got all the originals from to play the other characters. But he seemed to do it. I mean, I liked him in that
Well,
spot, but I could see what you were saying though.
but now that maybe that's why he's not doing Mr. Fantastic now, since he's already been in an alternate universe version,
Could be.
and they don't. Even though I don't know why people even try to, if comics can't keep their timelines correct, who cares about movies anymore? I mean, this is nothing. That's I know everybody wants. Oh, we have to have continuity, and I believe so, but since comics don't do it anymore, they don't worry about that anymore.
That is true.
I am not that behind. I don't care. I'm still in gym mode. I'm always going to be in gym mode. But I don't know. Maybe if I watched a few more Jack Ryan episodes, maybe. But I just keep waiting for him. I can't do it. Don't ask me why. I usually don't do stereotypes like that. I usually let the actor move on, and I can't let him move on. I'm sorry. I just can't. No.
Since we're talking about movies, did you happen to see The Flash yet?
Oh, it is, isn't it? Yeah, it crash landed. I don't know. I'll get it. I keep bumping my table, my desk, and it falls over. But anyway, go ahead, big dog. What were you saying?
Did you happen to see the Flash movie? Since we were talking about movies.
No, the newest one. No.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have Disney, so I guess that wouldn't be Disney. I don't have WB or Max.
Max.
Yeah, and everyone laughed at me when I would call Peacock the cock, but now when they shorten HBO Max to Max, the CEO for the Peacock said, "No, we're not going to change it to the cock." So I was ahead. I was ahead. I was finally ahead of the curve than behind it. But
yeah, I remember that.
I still would like to see it called the cock. That'd be fun being called the cock. I'm going to watch the cock right now. But anyway, I haven't seen anything new for a while, big dog. I haven't been to a theater for a long, ever since the pandemic. I haven't been to a theater. I've been planning on getting back, but I just haven't made it anywhere for a while. So I guess since I've been in, but anyway, the pandemic screwed me up a lot. I mean, as far as going and doing things, but I just don't have those. I don't have those, I guess I don't, if they're on DVD, I might get them. But other than that, or Blu-ray, I mean. But I mean,
well, you can wait for
Flash
Flash.
is still in theaters, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's bombing big time.
Well, you saw it, right? Didn't you go with?
Yeah, I saw it. Batman. Michael Keaton's Batman was great in there.
Was that the only part?
The rest of it was. Well, no, he was in a large part. I would say he was in 70% of the movie.
Yeah, was he really? Well,
yeah.
Then I guess he saved 70. So he saved 70% of the movie.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Fix it. You fix it, Roger. Leave my starship alone.
Well, it's scorekeeper's ADHD kicking in. He can't see the fact that what you should do is put it upside down. Oh. To really piss him off.
Yeah. That reminds me of the toy they made back in the 60s when they were doing toys, and they put it up. They thought it was supposed to be upside down. So, or was it the Gold Key comic that put it upside down because they didn't know any better? Like I said, I haven't seen anything. I mean, I have, I got the Spider-Man No Way Home Alone because I got it on Blu-ray. I didn't. So,
okay.
I don't know. I don't know what the last movie I saw in the theaters. To tell you the truth, whatever the last superhero movie was before the pandemic was probably the last one I saw.
Oh, okay.
That's when I
Uh,
remember seeing as Logan.
I I thought the Flash was going to be the flop of the year, and lo and behold, it looks like the flop of the year was the one that just came out this weekend because Indiana Jones just totally tanked. I believe it was $312 million to make, and their opening weekend, which of course is the biggest weekend that you're ever going to
Yeah.
have, is your opening weekend. They pulled in 65 million.
Well, I didn't have high hopes since Crystal Skull,
Oh yeah,
and
that was horrible.
I mean, and I think me and the family at the time went and saw it in theaters, and I mean, I can't really take the kids' word for it because that's the first one they saw. But for me, it's like, oh, all right. But ever since, but I don't know, and I don't know what to expect from this movie. I mean, I didn't, I might get it eventually from the library and not pay for it. But okay, I'll get it from the library and go from there. And
Let's see.
see,
Indiana
this
Jones
is
and
what
the
happens
Dial
when
of
you go
Destiny.
throwing money after rehash stuff that isn't very good. I mean, you would think that I can't see you would think by now that they would learn that they can't just start throwing shit up against the screen and hope that it sticks. Because everybody's losing money on everything now, though. I mean, even though you know what I mean, I don't know when was the last hit at the theater, big dog, ever since the pandemic. I mean, has anything ever?
Spider-Man, No Way Home. That was probably the biggest one.
Yeah, like I said, that was worth it. I mean, it had its problems. I get
Yeah.
tired. I mean, the only part I didn't like is when they had Octo in the glass container and the kids asked what his name was and they
Oh
left out
yeah.
his name. It's like, oh come on, that's just okay. And who can't? I mean, like, oh, it's funny, but it's okay, is it? But but anyway. But still, that was a pretty good movie. I guess I like seeing. I think Maguire did a good job, and I thought that Andrews did a good job playing Spider Man. I'm not a big fan of the current one doing Spider Man because he looks too short and too British. But other than that, or Australian, or whatever the fuck he is, I know that Andrews is too. But I liked his Peter Parker. I like that movie franchise, and I wouldn't mind. And I was hoping that some of the rumors would come true and there'd be a new Maguire or Andrew movie, but it's probably not going to happen.
Nah, I don't think so. It'd be good if it was, but
I'm just saying Sony still owns the right, so they could still do what they want to. So I mean, if they wanted to do
yeah, but
a third Andrew movie and try and wrap it up, and do a fourth
yeah,
Maguire movie and try to get that Venom bad taste out of our mouth, yeah, they could do that too. So
but the problem is though, the two Venom movies, the Morbius movie, and now this Craven piece of crap that they're putting out.
yeah,
It's pretty much proven that Sony can't make superhero movies because they
no,
also did that Fantastic Four movie too.
yeah.
You know, yeah, no, I
They didn't do, but they didn't do too bad with the Spider-Man movies, as far as I could tell. I mean, well, I guess people. Well, Spider-Man's web it isn't supposed to be coming out of his wrist, and I'm thinking it makes sense.
yeah,
How else would he know he's a spider? The only reason Peter Parker knows that he has the powers of a spider is because he saw the spider. He had the spider. He saw the spider bite him. Oh, a spider bit me. Other than that, he doesn't. If he would have known what bit him, he could have called himself anything. Insect man, fly man, anything, whatever insect, because, but it made sense. I didn't mind that. But well, I guess the thing was with the Maguire movie is since I had been waiting 30 fucking years from Stan Lee telling me there's going to be a Spider-Man movie, I was happy to see one finally.
yeah. I think we all were.
Because every once a year, in the bulletins, Stan, oh yeah, Spider-Man movie's coming. I remember reading that in late 70s or 80, and I'm like, oh, so 30 years, 20 years later, so. And
Yes,
even
they
that, I
did,
mean, I know that
Elizabeth.
movie had its problems too with Mary Jane living next door, blah blah blah. Yeah, we can be sticklers about every movie, but I guess I liked the Amazing Spider-Man because I like seeing Emma as Mary Jane. I mean, as Gwen
Oh, okay,
Stacy.
yeah. Yeah.
As Gwen Stacy, I mean, 'cause I think she did a good Gwen Stacy. I thought, you know, she looked like Gwen Stacy is what I'm saying. They made her look like, you know, with the. But anyway, I like
My
that
problem,
storyline.
I like the storyline. My problem though with all the Spider-Man movies was Mary Jane, because I feel that none of the Mary Janes conveys the Mary Jane in the comics. Mary Jane in the comics is drop dead gorgeous. She's a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model type gorgeous.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
sorry to the actresses that have played Mary Jane in the movies, they don't convey that.
No, that was part
That
of the appeal when she came on in the 40s. In
yeah, the
issue
60s.
42 when
Yeah,
Romita said, "Here she is," and like, oh my god, this is Mary Jane.
exactly.
And having her see and getting the cover where she's dancing,
Mm-hmm.
But you're right, that was always her. That's the way she was. Well, and
Well,
Margaret.
she was drawn.
Yeah, and that's the way she was. I mean, because she wasn't Spider-Man's girlfriend at that time. I mean, she was Harry's. I mean,
Yeah.
so that thing didn't become a romance until
After Gwen died.
well, yeah, but it still didn't become a romance until the 130s, somewhere around 137, when his apartment was blown up by the Harry Green Goblin. But that's giving way too many things. But yeah, but still, yeah, but if you want to know what Mary Jane is supposed to look like, type in Todd McFarlane Mary Jane lingerie, and you will know what we're talking about.
Roger's typing away right now.
He is. Get your cream out there.
2002 Mary Jane was not the correct one. That would have been
Dunst. Kristen Dunst.
no, it wasn't.
No,
It wasn't Roger.
But I guess we're going since we've wandered into this field. One of the things that do bother me about the Spider-Man films is that he always taking off his fucking mask.
Yeah.
It's like, I understand where the actor wants to have his face seen, but the thing is, there should be a clause saying, forget that. Spider-Man, while he's Spider-Man, always has his mask on. Deal with it. There's none of this. I don't think anybody's, look, I'm going to take my mask off. Because if you're doing a current Spider-Man right now, there is no such thing as privacy. So no matter where he takes his mask off, someone's going to have a picture of him. So it makes no sense nowadays for him, even in today's world, for him ever wanting to take that mask off.
Roger can't spell Kirsten Dunst. I think it's Dunst, Raj.
Yeah. But no, I mean, yeah. And her being in high school with him and all that stuff and how they tried to do other, but
yeah.
But at that time, I can see why they would do it, since Mary Jane was his love interest at that time period. I mean, Gwen had been long gone, so.
I hear there's a Spider-Man 4, either next year or 2020, late next year or 2020, early 2025, with the current Tom Holland. So we'll see how that goes, or if it happens. I hear they're in production, but with the writer's strike, not sure what's going on with that.
Right. I guess it'll be. Well, I guess this will be the first time for a Spider-Man actor to make a fourth movie appearance. Then.
Yeah.
And I guess it'll be interesting to see how his life changes now that no one knows who the fuck he is.
Yeah, that is true.
And Mary Jane and his Aunt May's gone too, so he has really no one but himself.
Yep. I like the fact that, or not that I like the fact. I wish they would do it like the way they do the James Bond movies, where a different person can stand in as James Bond, but the movie just continues.
Right, the franchise continues.
Rather than rebooting them again, every Every 3 movies, you're retelling the story again. We don't need that. We all know who he is. We all know how it happened. Just keep the character going.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like, well, how many times do we have to tell Batman's origin?
Yeah.
We know how he became Batman. We don't need to keep seeing his parents die all the time. We know what happened. And I still think that people knew. I mean, I didn't even think they knew the origins back with Maguire because everybody grew up with the cartoons. They know how Spider-Man became Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Everybody watched Bill Bixby. We know how the Hulk became the Hulk. We didn't have to have this the first hour him getting, oh, we got to explain how he got all this gamma rays and how we could actually, have this happen. And his dad gave him shots. It's like, what? Oh, he gets blasted by rays. He's the Hulk. That's all we need to know. And he goes smash stuff. That's all we want to see. We don't care. We don't need this big scientific things thrown at us for an hour. I mean, good Lord, people. Everybody knows how these people became who they are. And we don't have to spend trying to make.
I mean, I could understand when they did Iron Man and Thor because for us it was great because we knew, but for the general public, they didn't know who the hell Iron Man was,
Right.
or even Thor for that matter. Other than they think he's mythology, so on and so forth. But you're right, with Spider-Man with the Hulk, we all had those cartoons growing up. We all saw the TV shows in the 70s and 80s, so we all knew how it happened. Don't, like you said, don't waste the first hour explaining all that crap. Just hit
the Iron Man was different, and plus, I liked that Iron Man origin. I mean, I liked it. I mean, I liked watching him go through the different, and plus, we were able to go through all his designs of armor pretty quickly too, from his original gray from Tales of Suspense 39, all the way up to how it is at that in 2005. Or whatever year that was, 2009, 2005, whatever. But yeah. But yeah, all we need, you're right, Elizabeth. All you need to do is see Banner get hit with radiation and then go smash stuff. That's all we care about. We don't need to have this big explanation.
Yeah, I mean, originally, of course, in the comics in the 60s, it's a nuclear gamma ray blast, in the desert. They could have tweaked it any way they wanted, where he was in a lab, dealing with gamma radiation, and the lab explodes. Same pretense.
But think of the TV series. Bill Bixby sits in a chair, gets gamma rays, and that's all there is to it. I mean, he just that's all he did. Sits in a chair for about 30 seconds and goes about his business and goes change the tire and turns into the Hulk, turns the car over. We're set, right? Everything is right there within, Didn't take Bill Bixby long to get gamma rays and start running around for 5 years. And then a few more years doing movies with a stupid Thor. Oh, they did need a new Thor origin because that Thor on TV was terrible. I gotta get my mead. You think he's an alcoholic? I mean, the Vikings liked their stuff, but this guy was too much. And plus he was more worried about mead than actually fighting crime too.
And I think they caught on to the fact that we didn't need origins for everybody because. If you remember, like with Black Widow, she came into Iron Man 2, so 2 or 3.
I don't remember. Wasn't it?
I think it was 2 where she's boxing with Happy, where they introduce her and then she became later on you see her Black Widow and they don't bother with the backstory. Same thing with Hawkeye in the Avengers, he's there, he's Hawkeye, we know who he is. They don't bother with the backstory because we all know it. So
So was she in Iron Man 2? I don't remember that. I have it. Why don't I remember her being in Iron Man?
Yeah, remember when
I can see the cover, but I can't.
He's interviewing for. I'm trying to think now. Is it 2 or is it 3? Shoot, might have been 3 then. When all the other Iron, I think it was 3. I think it is 3, because isn't that the one where Rhodey and Iron Man join up together and they fight all the other android Iron Men.
Where are you at? Because what Iron Man? Because Rhodey wasn't in existence then. Or are you talking about Happy?
No, Rhodey. Because remember, he's War Machine. in the Iron Man. So it has to
Oh,
have been
oh,
Iron
never
Man
mind. You're
3.
talking about the movies.
Yes, the
I'm talking
movies.
about the comic book. Never mind.
Oh,
I
sorry.
kept thinking, what are you talking about? I don't remember that. Okay, yeah, the movie. Yeah, you're right. In the movie. Yeah, you're right. Okay, I get it. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, because, well, when they did try to do an origin in the movie version, that didn't work out either. So, yeah, I get it. Uh, yeah, you're right. The movie, yes. Yes.
So,
Because,
I mean, the way it's come out over the last 10, 15 years, 20 years, whatever it's been, Marvel knows how to do cinematic movies like no one else. And DC knows how to do the animated movies, the direct to video or direct to Max or whatever it is, like no one else. Because their animated stuff is no one even comes close.
no,
But
you're right. I don't know what
but
happened to Marvel when they started making their
yeah,
anime stuff. Like, are these the same company? Well, Marvel, yes, but we're not sure about Disney. If Disney's going to know how to make Marvel movies, so.
yeah.
But you're right.
But
I mean, just think how ambitious it was for Marvel to think. You know what? Let's make this big Marvel universe where everything plays into each
yeah,
movie, like, and it's like, really, because it's hard to get 3 movies to make sense, let alone a whole universe. I mean, geez, that. And plus, it also made us want to actually go through the credits too.
yeah. That was a big thing about those mid scene and end scene credits. Um, but yeah, can you imagine that first roundtable meeting that you have with the big wigs and the Russo brothers and all the guys involved, and they're sitting there going, you know what, let's plan this out in a 10 movie spectacle that we're going to be doing, and it's going to end up with the Avengers, and
Yeah,
we're going to go from there, and we're going to start with Iron Man, and
yeah,
they all were probably going, who the hell is Iron Man?
yeah. What do you mean we're starting with who? Who? Who's that again? He's not in my notes. He's not, Yeah, but still, anyone, even if you were a fan, you're like, wait, are you sure you want to start with Iron Man? Nobody knows
Yeah,
who he is. I mean, yeah, I'm great. I'm game for Iron Man, but is the
I,
rest of
I would.
the audience going to be game for it as well?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, Iron Man, that's great. And then I started thinking, well, it's an interesting choice though, because if you're not really in the comic book, in business, or you don't collect comics, you don't know who Iron Man is.
No,
And then the fact that they took the chance with Robert Downey Jr. I mean, he was just coming
he's
out
what
of
sold it.
all his, he was coming out of all his drug troubles,
All kinds
and
of troubles, yeah.
yeah, all kinds of
And it
court
turned out he's
troubles.
what helped sell it too. I mean, he's the
Yep.
one that helped. I mean, he was a great Tony Stark. I mean, he was,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, best
and he
Tony
became the
Stark.
face of Marvel from then on.
And he's made so much goddamn money.
Oh yeah, he has. I mean, how many movies has? I mean, counting the Avenger movies, how many and Spider-Man movies? He's been making buku bucks for a long time because he's been in countless films now.
And from my understanding, is that after maybe the third or fourth movie that he was in, he lowered his regular acting price from whatever it was, 20 million or whatever per movie. He lowered it to like half, but he took points off the back end of the movie. So that's where he's made.
That's
That's where
that.
he's made.
Yeah, that's what Jack did.
Yep, that's where he made. Because I think they said on the Avengers movie, the first one, Endgame, um, he got his regular salary of like $15 million for the movie, and then he made something like another. I think they said over $100 million because of the points that he negotiated off the movie. I mean, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, if you can get, yeah,
The
and
funny thing with Jack though is Jack got points off the movie, off the Batman movie, but he didn't think it was going to go anywhere, and he has stated that he gave those points to a buddy of his because he figured the movie wasn't gonna make any money.
he did
So
what? I didn't
the
hear
points that
that.
he the points that he got for the movie, Jack
Yeah.
Nicholson for the Batman movie, he didn't think the Batman movie was going to be successful. So as a birthday gift or whatever, he gave it to his buddy. He was like, "Here, you can have these," and he transferred them over to the buddy. And the buddy made like $50 million or whatever the hell it was.
Jeez.
And Jack was just like, "Eh."
Well, I thought that was one of the reasons that Jack got the points, because he was afraid it was going to ruin his career.
Maybe that was originally, but then at the same time, he figured that it was maybe just gonna break even or make only a little profit. So he was just like, "Eh."
Well, I remember at the beginning, I read that Jack, when they asked Jack to play the Joker, and he was like, "What, you want me to ruin my career?"
Yeah, I do remember that.
And then that's why I thought he got. Well, either way, they gave him points, and he came on board. But I still paid him a lot of money just to do the part anyway, plus the points. I mean, it wasn't like he was getting paid peanuts to do. He probably made who knows how much more than Michael Keaton, because Keaton was also a gamble. I mean, Keaton was the gamble. They needed Nicholson to sell it, because Keaton was getting all kinds of heat. They're getting all kinds of heat from casting Keaton as Wayne anyway. So they needed Jack to sell it.
I always thought Keaton was a good Batman, but Val Kilmer was a better Bruce Wayne. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
I always felt Kilmer had the look, the suaveness, and just he exuded the rich, playboy type, when he was playing the part. Whereas Keaton looks like, like the guy you see next door to you,
Keaton was Mr. Mom.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I can see that. I mean, Keaton did do a good Batman, and Kilmer, I guess I could see him as Bruce Wayne, but then, compared to but then, you're going to compare him to Clooney. Yeah. Yeah, I can see your point. I didn't think of it that way, of one being better at one part of the personality than the other. I never really crossed my mind. It was either me playing both. Can you do both? Can you be Batman and Bruce?
I don't think that happened till what's his face?
Yep, him. I know. Him, the man.
Yeah, in the trilogy. Yeah.
Yeah, him. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, him. I don't know why I'm brain farting on it too, because I thought those are my favorites too. But he was my favorite Batman and Bruce, and I'll get to it here in a minute. But
Clooney and the Schumacher nipples. Yep, that is true. Clooney and Schumacher. Actually, I don't blame Clooney too much, because he was just a job for him, and he did the best he could. But Schumacher almost destroyed that franchise.
He did.
Yeah.
And I don't. I still didn't. I kept but of course the question remains is, why didn't Batgirl get nipples? Batman and Robin got nipples. Why didn't Silverstone get nipples? I mean, come on.
because she already had the big old
Christian
ass.
Bale. That's it. Yeah,
Christian
thank
Bale,
you, Elizabeth.
I'm just looking at that up right now. Remember, they were calling her Butt Girl for a while.
What was that again, Big Dog?
I was saying, remember, they were calling Alicia Silverstone Butt Girl for a while, because the way the costume made her butt look. That's probably why they didn't give her the nipples.
Thought it'd been a little too much there.
Yeah, that was just a horrible movie. God, that was horrible.
But why nipples to begin with? I mean, anyway. Yeah, they tried to do all the Batman sitcom villains in one movie from the 60s is what they tried to do. And I mean, it's a wonder it didn't ruin Arnold Schwarzenegger's career. I mean, geez. Every Mr. Freeze pun you could think of, he shot out of his mouth. I mean, good Lord.
That is true. What do you think about Ben Affleck as Batman?
He did all right. I mean, I guess that Batman using guns didn't appeal to me, but
Okay.
But he was really darker. I mean, you got him using guns. You've got him branding superheroes, villains with his little Batman branding iron. You got him doing, but then again, you got to think this is an older Batman that's probably thinking, "Kid, I've been around this block. This isn't helping. This, I might as well go." He's probably getting a little senile doing his little Batman schnick. Also, he's Ben Affleck, and I think he did a good job. I mean, he did okay. I mean, it depends. If you're a Ben Affleck guy, I guess you'd love it.
I think he did a decent job. And the way he portrayed the character, as an older Batman, I thought, okay, yeah, I could see exactly like you said. He's been doing this for all these decades and just got to do something different. Robert Pattinson as Batman. As Batman, I was okay with it, I guess. As Bruce Wayne, no way. I hated emo Bruce Wayne with a passion.
Yeah.
With a passion. I'm like, no, this is not what a billionaire is going to be acting like or dressing like or looking like.
Yeah. To me, if Matt Damon was not going to be Robin, I'm not in. No. I wanted both of them to be in the same film. Another good, good Batman hunting. That's what I wanted. But
Well, all I'll tell you, for the Flash movie, you get Keaton, you get Clooney, and you get Affleck in the Flash movie.
Even
that's all
Clooney?
I'm going to say.
I didn't know about Clooney.
That's all I'm going to say.
Clooney. Oh, for God's sake. You had to ruin it. You had to ruin it even more for me, didn't you? Clooney. Oh.
To say the least, I was shocked when I saw Clooney. But
see you later, Raj. Take your birth control so you don't get pregnant in the future.
That's either. Right. Don't forget. You can double up if you miss a day, but other than that, no. Mm.
Yeah.
Tired nerves. Do something.
Well, I guess with Ben Affleck, I didn't like his Alfred.
Okay.
I mean, I can see his role as that Alfred, but I guess I still go back to Bale's. No, not Bale's Alfred.
Okay. Yeah.
What's his name?
Caine.
Michael Caine. Yeah. But he fit the Christian Bale Batman though too. I mean, he
that
fit.
True, yeah. Yeah.
He did fit that, and Affleck's Batman fit. Well, he would need a younger Alfred to help him get around because he's older. Affleck is older, so he would need someone to help him out. But
what I don't know what DC is going to be doing this now, since they're revamping their universe again. Because what is it? Josh Whedon took over now.
No, Josh Whedon ain't doing jack shit anymore.
Was it Zack Snyder?
Not Snyder, but because Snyder wasn't Snyder going to do the Superman with the other Superman, but now who's the new guy taking over? Not Snyder, because Snyderverse is out and there's another one in, but it's not Whedon, because Whedon got into trouble with his antics that he had on the Buffy set.
Yeah, that's true.
So I forget who the other one is. And Snyder was going to do it, but then they got rid of him, and now I can't remember who it is.
I'm trying to figure it out right now. Movie universe. Let's see. No, not Safran. James Gunn. There we go.
Yeah. So,
but the thing is, they've already started off on the wrong foot. James Gunn fires Henry Cavill as Superman.
Right.
He's probably the best Superman since Christopher Reeve. He fired Gal Gadot, best Wonder Woman ever.
Right.
Although it's only the second one, but still.
But still,
she was still the best one.
No, what do you mean even better than? Are we talking about the Linda
Well, it's
Carter.
either her. It's her and Linda Carter.
Well, I
You
mean,
know.
well, for what it was worth back then, Linda Carter did a good job.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, she was awesome. But the way Gal Gadot portrayed Wonder Woman in the movies, I thought was perfect.
Yeah, you could actually stand
Um,
her,
yes.
but
So
not. Yeah,
so James Gunn fired Cavill, fired like I said, Gal Gadot. I think he fired Ben Affleck also. I think the cameo or the bit that he had in the Flash, I think was his final thing in the Flash.
oh yeah,
Um,
wow,
um, I wasn't. I didn't mind the fact that there's not going to be a Black Adam 2 because they said there was all kinds of problems with The Rock. I believe that one.
yeah,
But he got rid of that. He got rid of the sequel to that one, and I forgot. So he fired Jason Momoa also after Aquaman 2. He's gone.
he had a good.
So
I say a good Aquaman too.
I thought so too.
Yeah,
And
yeah, but the thing is that whole Superman thing screwed up Cavill's career for a while too because he went from leaving The Witcher. Oh,
yeah,
however you look at that, to okay, it doesn't matter. I'm going to play Superman now, but now I'm not doing that. So now what am I going to do? Am I going to be stuck doing that Sherlock thing with what's her
oh yeah,
name
with
from
what's her
Stranger
face?
Things?
Bobby
Mile,
Brown or something
Billy?
Brown or whatever her
Oh
name
yeah,
is.
Billy Brown. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So is he going to be doing
Um,
that now? I mean, because he didn't care if he looked. Because I mean, I know he would. I know he was complaining because they weren't following the books, but at least got somebody fighting for well, let's do what the books now. Let's do this other. Let's do this work. Let's do this woke garbage first, and then we'll move on from there.
bring him over to Marvel. Don't find a
Yeah.
spot for him.
Yep. Well, that might be the case. Who you never know. Because I was looking
Ooh,
forward. Actually, I was looking forward to him playing Superman again.
how about Cavill as Captain America?
Yeah.
That would fit. He's got the physique for it. We know he can fake the English accent. I mean, the American accent. So
Yeah.
that would do. I like that.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know what James Gunn it has planned or who if he's gonna try it with like a bunch of nobodies or and build it from there. But as of right now, it's like the slate is wiped clean for anything. So I don't remember reading anything about any movies other than Aquaman 2 coming out at the end. I think at the end of this year. I think in November. I think it comes out, and I think Shazam 3.
Oh, do you know
Shit,
the
I can't
third one?
remember. I can't remember.
But it
I
just
know-
the
I thought there
second
were.
one just
I
come out.
thought.
It just
I,
seemed like Shazam 2 just came out.
I thought there were two movies that were coming out. It was Aquaman, and I can't remember what the other DC one. I thought there was another DC one. Maybe not. Marvel, of course, has their next like 4 years planned out already.
Yeah.
But yeah, DC. I don't know what's up with DC and the fact that they don't know how to make a live action movie unless it's Batman by himself.
Well, I don't know how much that could just be them having too many hands in the
Oh,
fire too. I mean, because Marvel is concentrated on Marvel. I mean, they got people on board with the Marvel universe where I don't think Warner
ooh,
Brother execs know what they want, or they think they know what they want.
that would be interesting, Elizabeth, if he's going to be Captain Britain.
That would be
That would be
interesting.
cool. I would love them if they give him the costume from the '80s though, because I love that costume.
Yeah.
The new one now, I'm not too fond of, but that's fine.
Captain Britain, that would be all right.
I wonder if they would release it just over there, or if they would actually try and release it here. Because talk about an unknown character,
Yeah.
they would have to maybe put him in a different movie first, to introduce him that way, and then give him the solo one afterwards.
What was the European Justice League called?
Justice League Europe.
Yeah. Okay. Put them in there first. That makes
Well,
sense.
well,
That
first of
makes
all,
sense.
yeah, but that's the wrong company. Justice League is DC. Captain Britain's Marvel.
No, that's true. Well,
You
be a
put him in the
crossover. It'd
Invaders.
be a
You,
crossover
you,
thing.
you could put him in the do an Invaders movie,
Yeah.
or another. Well, there is going to be another Avengers movie. I think in 2 years. So maybe they could put him in at that point.
True.
We'll see. That would be interesting.
It'll all work out some way or another.
Oh yeah. Like I said, DC. That they had the fact that they have the mouse behind them, money wise. The mouse pretty much lets them do what they want. I mean,
I don't know
they
about that. I think Disney's more involved than we think, because they have their own agenda too. They have their agenda to
true.
get through.
Yeah, but at least but I mean they're well made movies for the most part that make or at least break even. You know, where it's not a horrible
I mean, we
movie.
saw what they did to Star Wars,
That's a different franchise.
but they still ran
And
it.
yeah, they're still bad. But the problem is they made billions of dollars though.
Yeah.
So even though it was a bad movie, everybody went to go see it.
Yeah,
That's the bad
they
part.
complain and go see it at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it was a
So
crappy movie, but I'm gonna see it for the fifth time though, just to make sure it was crappy.
yeah, here's crappy.
But
So
yeah. But we've been on for a little over 2 hours, so I guess we will cut it short. Or not cut it short, but we will cut it
we
at
will
this
cut it.
time.
We will cut it medium.
But I want to thank everyone for joining us on Comics 101. I think we have a subject for our next show, which will be next month, and I think we'll be talking. Do you think we'll be good with the Kirby, Simon and Schuster and Bill Finger and those guys that got screwed over?
So you want to
Back
go
in the
with the yeah? I think we should go with creators that were maybe taken advantage of or didn't get a
that
payday
were wrong.
later on. I mean,
Yeah,
everyone was taking a gamble, but you would still expect them to get when they saw it was going to, especially when Batman and Superman
yeah,
were having TV serials and series done in the 40s and 50s.
yeah.
Okay, I
And
mean,
and Simon and Schuster, they were literally living in poverty, because they weren't getting any royalties, and it wasn't until their grandkids sued DC to finally get those
yeah, but they got
back
money.
pay.
But then they started getting money from when they did the yeah, the Christopher Reeve Superman. Then they get
Yeah,
some kind of payday too. And then the grandkids came back later on wanting more money, but they got. I mean, still you got to remember that's almost 40 years after the fact, though, too.
yeah, exactly.
After all the TV series, all the licensing products of 40 years, they finally get a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
And
So
you're right
that'll
about that.
be yep. So that'll be our main subject. We'll also cover other things going on. Wherever the comics talk takes us, that's where we'll go.
That's
But
right.
I want to thank everybody for joining us. I want to thank Almighty, Mr. Richard, for joining us, and Elizabeth and Scorekeeper in the chat room. And see you next month, guys. Be safe. Enjoy all comics. Enjoy everything you can do, and be safe out there.
Good night.
See y'all.